everyone, it's Roberta. I'm back. I am going to work on making some bookmarks. I've been making a bunch of them lately. Just taking a piece of Nina, the 8.5 by 11, 65-pound weight or heavier. I just take a whole sheet and I paint it in different layers, and I do the front and I do the back. And I try to stay with the same colors, but I change it up from the front to the back. So this is purple, pink, white, red. And this has purple, pink, white, and red. It just looks very different. It doesn't look like much when it's like this. But then when you cut them up into bookmarks and laminate them and add some pretty ribbons and fibers, they're really beautiful. I also change up the font. This is one type of fancy font, and then this is a drawing type of a font. And these bookmarks are also made with the same colors. The back is totally different from what the front looks like. On the back, this one has the verse for How Great Thou Art. So today I'm going to work on more bookmarks. And I have a color palette picked out. Royal Violet, Pumpkin Orange, Parakeet, Bimini Blue, Fuchsia, which is a really bright magenta, pinkish purple tone, and then white. And I have it upside down because it's almost gone. I have an old rolling pin. You could use a brayer. I don't have a brayer, so I use this. I have makeup sponges. I have a piece of mesh bag from oranges or lemons or whatever, and it's just cut into a rectangle, and then I painter tape the edges to keep it in this shape and easier to manage as I'm using it as a stencil. I have silicone oven mats, and they're cut into little sections. This one looks like a Pac-Man, and then this one looks like chicken wire or honeycomb. This is a little piece of mesh that I found on a walk to my mom's condo, and it's just a piece of junk, but it makes an interesting little stenciled image. Some of my punchinella. A circles stencil that I ordered from Catherine Puller's website. Stencil that I got from at Walmart. Another Walmart stencil. And so those are some of the items I have pulled out that I will probably use. So I'm going to try to do this fairly quickly today. And first thing is to get these fairly mixed up. Otherwise, when you try to pour it out, you just end up getting some liquid glue because it separates from the pigment. And I really don't have any real plan as I do this. I just try to have fun. And I also keep a spritzer of regular water or glycerin water. And I do try to make sure I get the edges, whether it's with one color in particular or if I do sections in the different colors I'm using. And I don't have editing software to make the video speed up. So if you're watching this and you want to watch it faster, which I would do, I would jack it up to the speed 1.5 or 2. And you can do that by, on the screen where you're watching this video, you'll see a gear icon, and you want to click on that gear icon, and when you click on it, you will see the different speed choices that you have to choose from. You do 25, 50, 75, normal, 125, 15, and 2. And you just choose which of those speeds would work best for you. And I always choose 2, and I watch almost all the videos that I watch on that speed. Now, because some of these colors, when they are mixed, would look muddy, that's when the white comes in. I can add the white and then go over it with a color, so the color pigment will sit on top instead of mixing and blending in a color making mud. I just find this very relaxing. And I make these bookmarks not because I'm obsessed with them. I have been making a lot lately, but I make them because people really like them, and it is a great way to advertise my YouTube channel. And as a Christian, I put a scripture or something, like verses from a favorite song or something, and I put that on the back so that they have a little something that's a little more personal from me. And they could just use it as a bookmark. It doesn't have to be something where they have to read the Bible or like that song. It's just the bookmark advertising the channel. Okay, so I have 2 colors that I've used, the royal violet and the fuchsia. Let's set those back. I want to put some orange down, and I know I can put the orange down where the pink is because those colors do go together well. But I also want some of that pink to remain pink. So I'm going to go in the few areas, even over the purple, because it'll be okay just a little bit. And then I can always go back over with the white if I feel like I need to clean it up some. And the pigment stays in your sponges, so even when you're done with this, you could spritz a little bit of water or glycerin water on the sponge, and you'd be able to get a little more pigment out of it. You could put it in an excess paint book. That's what I do. And so I have a lot of pages where I just use those sponges and lay down the excess. Like this one has the blue, so I had a sponge that had a lot of blue, got it watered down and just covered the whole thing, and then the other colors were some green and some lime green, and I stenciled it. And it's just layers and layers and layers over. And then these can actually be glued to manila folder or the Nina paper or whatever, and then they can be made into a part for a card. They could be stamped on. You could use it for ATC backings, and that way any excess paint that you have is not going to be wasted. So that's the point of using an excess paint book, because the little sponges that you have actually have, every time I pounce, it's actually pushing the ink further into the sponge. Adding the water helps me be able to hydrate it and bring it out. Okay, that one is the pumpkin orange. I'm done with that one for now. And now I want to go with the blue. And it can go over both the pink and the purple because it's a complementary color for both of those. And I'm not laying down too much of these colors now, but as I look at it and see how it's coming along, I can always add more. Now I want to add some of the white. So in adding the white, I am going to do some stenciling. I'm going to use the circle. Actually, I think I'm going to do the flower. And it's okay if when I stencil the ink kind of smudges under and I don't get a crisp, clean image of my stencil. Because this is being done in layers, that really doesn't matter. Because color will end up being laid down over some parts. I've missed making my YouTube videos, so can't wait till I can get the software for editing and also a new camera. That way I'll be able to start making them again. And the weather is turning beautiful as well, so that's going to help. When the weather is really cold, I can't do a whole lot. Arthritis. I do want to invest also in either making or buying some more stencils, because these are actually a lot of the same stencils I use on a lot of my artwork. And I'd really love to have some new stuff. And it does take a lot of paint, and honestly you're really not covering all that much of the paper. A lot of your paint actually is just gone right over the plastic of the stencil. So that's why it takes so much. And you also want to make sure that you get a good covering. I mean, you could do a light covering where you could still see the color, but I'm trying to do it where it's white enough that I would be able to block out the colors below so that I can put green down in some places and it won't make mud. But then I'll be laying more colors down again too, so. Today, here in Florence, the temperature is 76 this afternoon. So nice and warm. And the breeze has been wonderful. You can hear whistling as the breeze is blowing through the window. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so this is one half. And it changes the look of it. So I'm going to turn it over so I can do the other side. And it doesn't actually have to line up, but sometimes I do try to line it up. But it's not 100% necessary. It's just based on preference. Now if I had a black Posca pen, I would do something like let this dry and use the black Posca pen to outline the flowers. And then if I had other colors of Posca, I would color the center of the flower and maybe the petals with a different color. So that'll be something I'll be investing in once I get my new equipment and I'm able to start making more videos. My favorite thing to make, one of them is bookmarks, and that's my favorite right now, but my absolute favorite are ATCs. I haven't been able to make those, although I'm in a group, ATC Trades and Jams, and the jams are really fun because jams are actually done by a process of 3 different people. One person makes the base of the jam, and they send 3 of the same exact jams to one other person who does jams. That person will do the second step of adding flowers or image or whatever that they want to that jam, and then they will send it on to a third person who will add more and finish it off. And then when they're done, that person will send it, they will hold on to one for themselves, and then they will send one to the second person and one to the first person. So it's pretty interesting way of doing ATCs. And I've sent a bunch of jams out. These are some that I made. This is a set of, let's see, I don't know where the other one is. Here it is. Here's a set of 3. And then this is a different set of 3. So I just did what's called the base. And then somebody else will take and do something else. And I made a little form on the back so we could write the date. And then we could do the first person's name and address, second person's name and address, third person's name and address. And it's on the back of all of them. And then that way we will know when each one is finished who did the second and third and first step on each of these, and each one of us will get one. But I like doing this part, the base. I don't much like doing the second and third step. I like making the base. Okay, so now we're back to this. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go with some green. And it is going to go over some of the other color pigment areas, but it's okay because it's going to be in layers. And this is like a really mushy, messy kind of a stencil. But it's just to add something that's just a little bit different from what we're used to. Have to remember to keep it in camera screen, the camera view. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to do some of the blue with this one. And the way I do this is I just kind of put it on. And these have really thin walls, so they will kind of mush, so the lines won't be exactly straight, but that's not the point. The point is just to get a little bit of a geometric pattern on here, just to have something that's different. The thing is until you finish, you don't know how much of any of these colors and stenciling steps will still be visible at the end. At the end I kind of slam it down because it has some in there. And I think that's enough for this one. I'm going to go to this one. It's actually got some orange, so I'm just trying to clean it off, so I'm putting it in my excess paint book. Okay. have two of these. I have this size, and then I have a smaller one. That adds a real interesting look to my projects. I'm always looking at the silicone heating pad, or silicone oven mitt type things, trying to find some with a unique design just for this purpose. When I do this, it actually gets all over my whole desk too. Alrighty, done with that one. Actually, I think I need some right there. And the next color, pink. I need a different sponge because I used my pink one for my orange. And this one has a hole in it, so I'm going to cut it off. So it'll be basically a new sponge. This one you don't see as much. This one is a more subtle pattern of stenciling. It just adds a little something different. Just have to make sure you don't have too much ink because it kind of gushes out. Righty. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the white. And this one takes